Now, finally, one of the things that's been confusing to me, one of the things that's been a little disturbing to me, is that there are many different caucus groups in what I think is usually called the Renewal and Reform Coalition. Good News Magazine, the WCA, the IRD, a lot of acronyms. Pretty much all of them, in a uniform voice, are saying if you are conservative, you need to get out of the United Methodist Church now, otherwise, you're going to be trapped. And there seem to be a few components to this reasoning. One is 2553, the paragraph that I've been talking about, that is being used for disaffiliating churches right now. Originally designed for liberal churches, now being used for conservative churches. That only exists through the end of 2023. And so December 31st, 2023 is the last day it can possibly be used. After that, if you're in, there is no disciplinary provision now that churches can disaffiliate through. In General Conference 2024, they may or may not build a provision for churches to disaffiliate. But as it is, it looks like that door is going to be closing. And with so many conservative churches disaffiliating right now, it seems that most, if not all, of the American United Methodist Church is going to skew left, liberal. And at that point, when they gather with the Africans and the Filipinos and the other worldwide church at our next General Conference, who is going to prevail? What kind of legislation are they going to be able to pass? And are they going to carry the day with a new slate of resolutions that either sever the American church from the global church and their polity and their theology so that they're able to adopt measures that are friendly to sexual minorities, LGBTQ persons, or are they going to change the rules for the whole connection so that even the global church has to make provision for behaviors and parties that they understand to be working against God's instructions for sexual ethics? So, to me, it has been far from clear that this is a statistical inevitability. It seems to me that globally, conservatives are still growing and liberals are shrinking. When you look at our churches, conservative churches are growing, liberal churches are shrinking, especially when you look at the global picture. It seems to me that the long view, conservatives could easily, in 8 years, win this denomination over. It seems strange to me that all of the right-leaning coalitions are saying, get out now, it's a lost cause. I'm not sure I understand the different powers at play here. It's one of these things where we've seen this tsunami coming from a long way off. We watched the Episcopalians, the Lutherans, the Presbyterians do it all along the way. We've been saying, let's do it better than them. Let's do it better than them. And then it's here, and we're not doing it any better. It doesn't seem to me.
No, and that's in the local church setting, that's the conversation is we're going to do it better. So what are we going to do different than those churches did, those denominations did? How's that going to work out for us?
Yeah.
If you want to know what the United Methodist Church is going to look like 10 years from now, go pull up the Presbyterians, the
PCUSA.
PCUSA. Look at what took place there and where they are today. The thing was for them was clergy won't be persecuted. They could still be traditional and be within the denomination.
Yeah.
No, you can go look up and see clergy that are persecuted, that they've been moved from their appointments. They've been told they have to do same-sex weddings.
Yeah.
I mean, the writing is on the wall.
Yeah, that transitions into the last thing that I talked about, which was that a number of conservative leaders have just straight up said, you got to get out now because there's no way it's going to be saved now. You're going to get trapped inside. Then they're going to change the rules, and they are going to force you to comply or kick you out. And so what I just heard you say is when you look at the Episcopalians, the Lutherans, the Presbyterians, any group that has had this takeover from the left, they do not, we've had language within the UMC that we can be a big tent, we can keep traditionalists in, we're not going to force anybody. You're saying that there are large institutional forces at play, unavoidable, that are just going to make that impossible. We are not going to be able to make room. Left-leaning progressive clergy and leadership is not going to be able to make room for traditionalist clergy who think that that the Bible is not this culturally contextualized thing, but is the eternal Word of God, especially as it pertains to sexual ethics. That is not going to be. We're going to be persona non grata if we stick around.
I think if you look at the denominations that have gone through this and see how the traditionalists have been treated, how they've work that out, it's not gone favorable for them.
Yeah. It's hard. It's hard to. It feels like you're inferring bad motives. It feels like I'm inferring bad motives on a whole group of people when I say, I know you're saying you're not going to do this, but you're going to do this.
Yeah.
But I mean, it's like if I said I wanted to go to the strip club and I promise I won't touch another woman, my wife is going to say, no, you're not going into the strip club because there's a point at which you touch another woman. So we imagine that we can take the ring of power, to use the Lord of the Rings metaphor, take that ring of power and not use it or misuse it. And that's just not how group dynamics work.
And let's be clear, I don't think that forcing a traditionalist to do that is done with malintent.
No.
It's from a true, sincere belief that it's the right thing to do.
Yeah, they are keeping you, as a traditional, they're keeping you from killing trans and gay kids. They see what you and I believe as hateful, bigoted, causing harm, and they're ending our capacity to do harm, because that's what they would want in our shoes.
Yeah, right. And so it's not that they're evilly want to do that to you. They just feel it's the right moral, ethical thing to do.
Yes. Well, that's a good place to end on. And then the question that's going to continue as I probably continue doing these segments is, are we looking at the splintering of a church, or are we looking at it being revealed that we haven't been a church for some time, and that we need to reclaim the true church out of this, as silly as that sounds? So